I have a different answer than I would have last week. I truly think there's going to be a new player in the seller's market, one I would have never predicted. Good morning to you. What's happening?
So, you know what's happening.
Yeah, Jess, we're rolling, baby. 37-22. Shea came in with one of his first take questions today. Is it World Series or bust for the Cubs? And I said, no. Can we just slow down? It's, June the 2nd? June the 3rd? 2nd.
Yeah, and they haven't made the playoffs in a bunch of years. I mean, let's crawl before we can walk and then walk before we can run. But you're not wrong. They are rolling. I really, really like this homestand. I know some people are like, oh, they didn't score enough against the Rockies. Folks, go out there. The wind blew in every single day. It's 50 degrees. If it's 60 where you are, trust me, it's 50 at Wrigley Field. It was cold, wind blowing in. Actually, the Rockies have played a little bit better, but they did sweep them. And then they win 2 out of 3 against the Reds. I mean, they are playing really good baseball. Every single opponent that comes in here has made a defensive miscue because of the wind and the sun. Not the Cubs. They played great defense. They're running the bases. There's so many individual good stories. Shaw at defense, Dansby fixing his season, of course, PCA and Tucker doing their thing. How about the bullpen, guys? Drew Pomerantz hasn't pitched in the big league since 21, has a 0 ERA. Palencia, Brad Keller. Who else can we look at this? Presley. How about what they did Saturday? The opener worked out perfectly. Ben Brown was dominant after Drew Pomerantz opened the game. There's a lot of good things going on there. And I like the fact that with the wind blowing in and cold, they won 5 out of 6 games because they won it in different manners.
I know you got a chance to talk to Kyle Tucker about his injury, jamming his thumb into second base.
Yeah, weird slide. I had a little bit of a bandage on it, not a splint or anything major like that. So it doesn't sound like it's a major injury. Let's hear from Kyle Tucker right now on it.
Hit the ground kind of weird and kind of got caught under me, like a little straight. But I think my helmet just kind of hit that. And my hand kind of just hit the ground kind of weird and kind of got caught under me. And then just went out there. Kind of felt weird. Hopefully, was just hoping that it went away and try to kind of just grind through the at-bats and stuff. But it was kind of hurting and just kind of took a precautionary route of just coming out of the game. That we were going to get in there and Lynn did x-rays and everything. They were fine, so hopefully, rest of today and the off day tomorrow.
So we'll see. The big thing having the off day today is huge. But look, if he misses a couple games, they've had a different hero every night. I mean, Michael Busch has been quiet, and boom, he hits a homer into the win yesterday. So you don't sweat when a guy might miss a game or two, even if it's a Kyle Tucker. They're just rolling, and it sounds like he'll be okay.
Jess, in terms of where they are at with the starting pitching, there were people loud on social media a year ago, got to trade Taillon, get him out of here. Where would they be without this dude? He's had, 7 of his last 8 are quality starts, and I believe I saw this stat from Marquee. Jameson Taillon has the lowest ERA in his home ballpark the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, the weather has really helped him out at Wrigley these last 2 seasons. It's blown in more than out. We know he's a fly ball pitcher. He's a home run pitcher in a sense, but that's all he gives up. It's not like he gives up 10 hits a game. He'll give up several that leave the park like De La Cruz did yesterday, but it was 5-0. He challenged him, which is the right thing to do with a 5-0 lead, and he hit it out. I hope he pitches, they haven't said it yet, on Friday or Saturday or Sunday in Comerica. Big ballpark. So if in the right conditions, he's even better than he is. In the wrong conditions, he could be worse, wind blowing out and stuff like that. But I think he's been great at home because more often than not, the wind has been blowing in. He's still learning who to challenge and who to not, but there's a lot to like about Jameson Taillon's game, especially lately, where he's figured out some things, I think, about using the weather to his advantage and who to challenge and who not. And again, he got beat on one guy yesterday, but he didn't let the rest of the lineup beat him.
Jesse, it was a really good baseball weekend, but what did you do specifically on Saturday?
Well, I did the same thing Kap did a couple weeks ago. Went and watched my alma mater, Glenbrook North High School, beat its rival in the state playoffs. They advanced to the next round against New Trier. Watched Ethan Bass, one of the top-ranked players in the state. Kap, I know you were there as well.
I saw.
Not Kevin Bass's kid, Jay Hood. Alan Bass's kid.
That's
His
disappointing.
dad came up to me and said, "Tell Jay Hood it's not Kevin Bass, it's Alan Bass."
That's so funny.
The old Astro.
Yeah.
I like the Kevin Bass. He was fast.
Yeah, so he's one of the top-ranked players. He had a double. He helped win the game with his wheels, heads-up base running, scoring from second on an infield hit. In fact, Cap, I don't think I told you this, I coached Ethan Bass when he was 9 years old. I helped coach him on a travel team. And what's funny, guys, is this guy's probably going to be drafted. He's already going to Wake Forest in a year. He's still a junior. But at 9, you could tell his skill set. You could tell he was something special, even at 9. Not to know he'd be a Division I player, but there was just something different about him. So he's leading Glenbrook North in the next round. So I want to give a shout-out. They have back-to-back shutouts in the playoffs, so we'll see how far they can go.
Yeah, when I talked to the dad of the young man at length, they said we are just now overcoming the 9-year-old setback we had with the coaching.
Very true. Very true. But
No,
Justin Weiner,
I've never met him, but I went out to watch him, and he hit a grand slam that day. And let me just tell you, the ball just sounds different off his bat. So hopefully he is a draft kid. We'll see.
Yeah, and then the big decision: do you go to Wake Forest, or you go into the pro ball? It depends on what round. But he had a double diving play at short. It's just different. You could see it's different with him. It was fun. Justin Weiner is the head coach at Glenbrook North. Used to be in our business.
Yes, he was my intern.
Yeah, he used to be in our business.
Great
So
guy.
congrats to them. And anyway, that was my Saturday. So I might sneak over to the playoff game on Wednesday. We'll see.
All right, now that we're done with the North Shore Times, let's get back to the Los Angeles. I mean, oh my God.
Sorry, Jay Hood.
No, it's
Sorry.
fine. No, it's fine. I want to ask you about the series of the weekend with the Dodgers and the Yankees. I want to know from your perspective how much that resonates with, New York, Major League Baseball, knowing that when you get those two together, that you can get magic. I thought it was a really good series. I watched all 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers offense, when it feels like when they want to perform, they can just do it whenever they want. They can sleepwalk through a series here and there once in a while, but when it's the stage like against the Yankees, they show up. Well, here's the answer. I believe Friday was on Apple TV. Jay Hood, you probably know better than I do. I had the sound down, Apple TV, then Fox TV, then ESPN last night. Yeah. That tells you everything. I don't think I've seen a series on all 3 since Apple started picking up games. So I think that tells you everything you need to know. They would love a rematch come October. It was a great series. Ohtani is still the front runner for the MVP as much as we all love PCA. And the Dodgers offense is just amazing. And I picked them to repeat. And I don't normally do that with teams, but I picked them to repeat. So it was a great series.
Well, how much does baseball need that series, though? You know what I'm asking? Because, when a long season, you want to have a marquee matchup. NBA needs that when they get Golden State and the Lakers because it's LeBron and Steph. So certain sports need that. So how much does the sport need that matchup?
It's really one of the reasons they went to the schedule that they went to, that everybody plays everybody every season. Now, they would say things like, we want Mike Trout going to places he doesn't normally go. But I also think it's this. They want these matchups. They don't want 19 games against, Milwaukee versus, Pittsburgh or whatever, right? They want to spread it out a little bit, bring the Yankees to the smaller markets, and then also have those big matchups. So I think it's one of the reasons they went to the schedule that they did.
Any trade talks out there that you've heard, whether it's Cubs or somebody else? Because
Sox?
The Sox, I think, are going to hold their chips until mid to late July. They'll have a few guys people will want.
Pitching, yeah.
Yeah, it just may not be Luis Robert. This might not be Luis Robert. He looks awful. I mean, he looks worse than last year, and that was hard to do. And remember, he's a free agent at the end of this year with team options for 26 and 27, which at $20 million looked like a steal a couple years ago. Now, who's going to pay him $20 million? So you're going to have to probably give him away come July. That's Luis Robert. But to get to your question, which is different, I have a different answer than I would have last week, because I truly think there's going to be a new player in the seller's market, one I would have never predicted, and that is the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now Corbin Burns is out. Looks like he could be down for a while with an elbow injury.
He said, quote to the trainer, "My elbow's dead."
They have a horrendous bullpen. Corbin Burns might be out. That team is already 10 out of first. They're well out of the wild card race and falling and going backwards. Think about this. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are free agents, both at the end of this year. How would one of those guys look in a Cubs uniform? So this is a huge developing story in my mind when it comes to the trade deadline. It's not like Arizona can just afford to keep everybody and, have a losing season. Like, they're both free agents. The Diamondbacks don't have a ton of money. It's not like the Yankees. So they absolutely would move on from guys that are going to be free agents at the end of this year. I think Gallen and Kelly are both going to be on the market. That's my prediction today. I have no inside information just yet.
One of the weird anomalies in baseball, the Kansas City Royals, how they have a good enough pitching, but the offense is just like second up in the bottom down there with the Rockies. That's strange. Good pitching, but really anemic offense. So here comes Caglione, the kid from Florida that's going to come up. And listen, Jesse, I saw him in college. He is a monster. I don't know what he looks like on the next level, but I know in college he was a monster. What does that do for Kansas City's anemic offense?
Surprised it took this long, but there's a process to these things. But he's going to give him a boost. He's going to give him a boost unless he looks overmatched. Now, I don't know if it's enough. They're like last in home runs. They're last in a lot of offensive categories. But Bobby Witt needs a Robin to his Batman, Mm-hmm. And if Caglione is it, great. You put him behind Bobby Witt not right away, but eventually that could be a great 1-2 combination. He looks like the real deal. And go back to the tape. Last July, I think the day after the draft, I was on with you guys, and I wanted the White Sox to take this guy. He's up in the majors while Hagen Smith had some elbow problems. He was taken one pick after Smith. The White Sox had a choice, offense or back to the well with pitching. They went with Hagen Smith, and Hagen now is not shut down. They're trying to figure out about his motion, and I don't think he's having major elbow issues, but they got to figure some things out, and he's stuck at Double-A while Caglione is already in the majors. I hope Hagen Smith can have the career that Caglione might be having starting today, because otherwise that's another bad pick by the White Sox. So we'll see. But Caglione looks like the real deal. You talk to anybody that's watched him, they say the same thing.
2032, Cap.
You should see the facial expressions on my partner.
I'm sorry, Hoodie.
But it's just what it is.
Such a diehard fan.
I like Smith out of Arkansas. Because he's got a strong arm. You're trying to get like the next, Sale hopefully in that spot. But again, now you got Caglione, who I know was a great here at Florida, and the Sox passed him for pitching. See?
Yeah.
See?
And they're wide open at first base now that Vaughn is the bad Vaughn. They're wide open. He could be playing first base for them right now. And look, they've gone the route. We're going to draft pitching and find hitting elsewhere, like they did with Miguel Vargas, I guess. But I don't know. I wouldn't have passed this guy up.
Maybe the Sox could sign Josh Naylor in the offseason. He's a free agent. That guy can
Josh Naylor.
rake. He can rake. Give you a veteran bat, lefty, who can hit. Got to spend some money, Jerry.
Yeah, you're going to have to spend a few bucks for sure.
Is Palencia officially locked in as the closer?
I mean, they never like to give labels, but I'd say yes till further notice. I'd say yes. Stuff looks great. He's getting the experience. Going to be a tough little road swing here, 9 in a row, 26 out of 27. They have to play 3 cities here, no off day. This will be a good test, and Palencia will probably have to pitch in some close games. I mean, they haven't had that many save opportunities. The ones they've had recently, he's come through on. A little bit step up in class. Washington is not bad. They're just a few games under 500. And then it's Detroit, first place. Scuba on Friday. That'll be fun. Phillies after that. Brewers soon after that. So the Pirates are mixed in there. Schedule get a little bit tougher, but they've developed a little cushion here. And so let's see. Let's roll with it here and see what kind of road swing they have. But, yeah, I think Palencia is the guy for the moment.
As always, Jesse, we appreciate the time.